this way of doing jury selection, this is a little bit different for us. So you're gonna have to bear with us a little bit. COVID has, and the public health issues that are out there have sort of changed the process. We're spaced out, we're in compliance with public health guidelines, we're doing everything we can to continue with that. But because of that, again, we're getting sort of comfortable with a different way of doing business. And I do ask for your patience in that regard, and I do appreciate, again, you being here. What's gonna happen initially is I'm gonna swear you in. I'm gonna ask you some preliminary questions, and then we're gonna get right into jury selection. Okay? So with that, if I could please have you stand. Raise your right hand. You shall give true answers to all questions as may be asked by the court or its authority, including all questions asked by the parties or their attorneys concerning your qualifications as jurors in the case of the state of Georgia versus Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, and William R. Bryan. So help you God. Go ahead and proceed.
Question.
Yes, sir. Juror 773.
In responding to the questions, is it with or without the mask on?
I'm going to ask that you keep, and I should have touched on that to begin with. I'm going to ask, in order to stay in compliance with health guidelines, everybody needs to keep their masks on. Okay? Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the case of the state of Georgia versus Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, and William R. Bryan, who are charged each individually and as parties concerned in the commission of a crime by the grand jury of Glenn County with the offenses of murder, felony murder in 4 counts, aggravated assault in 2 counts, false imprisonment, and criminal intent to commit a felony. Are any members of this panel related by blood or marriage to any of the defendants just named before Ahmaud Arbery? No response. Have you, for any reason, formed and expressed any opinion in regard to the guilt or innocence of the accused?
Yes.
I've got juror number 30. Just keep your hands up.
Have I formed
One.
an opinion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
2, and I can see you.
3.
3. 4. On the end, ma'am, I can't see your number. All the way in the back.
Sorry.
5. 7.
And 19.
9. 11. 19. 21. 30. 35. 37. Have you any prejudice or bias resting on your mind either for or against the accused at the bar?
You don't hear the question? Your Honor, may you repeat the question, please?
Have you any prejudice or bias resting on your mind either for or against the accused at the bar? At 19, 35, and 37. Are your minds perfectly impartial between the state and the accused?
No. Read it again.
Are your minds perfectly impartial between the state and the accused? 1.
Your Honor, if I may ask, maybe we ask it in reverse with the, if your mind is not perfectly impartial between the state and the accused, please raise your card.
So we're going to go ahead going to occur at this point is, again, the state, and then each of the defendants is going to have an opportunity to ask you questions. If you please go ahead and respond to those questions as openly and honestly as you can. Thank you. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, state's ready.
All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. My name is Linda Dunikoski, and I'm one of the Assistant District Attorney Pro Tempores in this case. So first off, I'm going to start off by asking you a series of questions. It's real easy. I need hands up, okay? And the other thing I'm going to ask you to do is, if you think it might apply to you, it does. Well, I don't know. Yes, it does. Well, should I answer yes? Yes, it does. So feel free to always go ahead and raise your card, because here's what's going to happen when you raise your card. We're going to come back later, and we're going to individually talk to you. So you're going to get interviewed, and you're going to get to tell us exactly what you meant when you raised your card. All right, everyone good? All right, let's start. So first off, is there anyone here who does not currently reside in Glenn County? No cards. Is there anyone here under the age of 18 years of age? No cards. Is there anyone here who has been convicted of a felony and not had your rights restored to you, like, so you can vote and participate? So if you've been convicted of a felony, let us know. Juror number 35. All right, is there anyone here who sat on the grand jury that returned this indictment in June of 2020? You would remember, you were in this room. I was here. No cards. All right, is there anyone here who is currently a post-certified law enforcement officer? You have arrest powers. Number 25. Is there anyone here who is 70 years of age or older and does not wish to serve on this jury? No cards. Is there anyone here who is currently a full-time student enrolled in and attending classes? Number 20. Is there anyone here who is actually a full-time caretaker of a child under the age of 6 years old? That means you are full-time and taking care of a 6-year-old child without any other reasonable accommodation. Or are you caring for a disabled or elderly person who needs full-time care and you have no other reasonable accommodation? Anyone? All right, so we have number 5, number 19, thank you, and number 3, and number 22? 22. All right, is there anyone here who has difficulty understanding the English language? All right, number 28. All right, and 22. And is there anyone here who has difficulty hearing? Juror number 8. No other cards. All right, so I'm going to talk about hardships. Okay, before y'all put your cards up, I'm going to give you some qualifications, okay? So first off, we anticipate that this trial is going to run from today and potentially up till the 19th of November, which is the Friday before Thanksgiving. We are hoping that it does not. However, in fairness, we need to go ahead and let you know that's a possibility in case of something like this. You are planning on being in another state for the birth of your first grandchild and have already bought an airline ticket. You need to let us know about that kind of thing. 2 weeks from now, you're having open heart surgery. You need to let us know about that kind of thing. So any sort of non-work related, notice how I just said non-work related hardship or conflict that you might have that you want to let us know about, please raise your card so we can go ahead and talk to you about that. All right, we have number 7 and number 19. Number 2, and number 32, and sir, what is your number right there? 21, thank you, sir. 1, number 8.
What is the question again?
Do you have a hardship that's a conflict between now and November 19th, but it has to be non-work something like open heart surgery, you're going to another state because it's the birth of your first grandchild, things along those lines, which are sort of life-changing events that you've already pre-planned. Okay, so I'm going to put you down, sir, so we can talk to you later about that, okay? Great. And then I think 22? All right. All right, so let's talk about Glenn County. Let's talk about the district attorney's office. Is there anyone here who's related by blood or marriage, third cousin or closer, to the current Judicial Circuit District Attorney, Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney Keith Higgins, or any of his assistant district attorneys that are work here in the Brunswick Judicial Circuit? Do you know Keith Higgins? Do you know any assistant district attorneys here? No cards. All right. Is anyone here related by blood or marriage, third cousin or closer, to the former district attorney, Jackie Johnson, or any former assistant district attorney employed by the Brunswick Judicial Circuit? No cards. Anybody know personally Jackie Johnson? No cards. Anybody know any former assistant district attorneys? No cards. All right. The district attorney pro tempore in this particular case is Mr. Flynn Brody from the Cobb County Judicial Circuit, which is northwest of Atlanta. Does anyone here believe they're related or know Mr. Flynn Brody? No cards. All right. Anybody know me? Linda Dunikoski. Anyone know my trial partners, Mr. Paul Camarillo? No cards. Miss Larissa Oliver? No cards. All right, is there anyone here who currently has an opinion, whatever the opinion is, doesn't matter. If you have an opinion about last year's election here in Brunswick, where District Attorney Jackie Johnson was defeated and Keith Higgins was elected to the position of District Attorney, does anyone have any sort of opinion about that particular election? No cards. Does anyone here have any sort of opinion about how or why the Cobb County District Attorney was assigned to prosecute this case by the Georgia Attorney General? Anybody have any issues, any opinions about that? No cards. Is there anyone here who will be unable to give the state a fair trial because the ADAs don't live here? We're not from Glenn County, we're from Cobb County. Is there anybody who's not going to be able to give the state a fair trial because of that? No cards. And does anyone here know, or are you related to the current Waycross Judicial Circuit District Attorney George Barnhill, or any of his assistant district attorneys? No cards. Does anybody actually know Mr. Barnhill or his son, George Barnhill Jr., who actually practices law here in Glenn County and Brunswick? No one knows the Barnhills? No cards. All right, does anyone know or are related to Atlantic Judicial Circuit District Attorney Tom Durden? Any assistant district attorneys from the Atlantic Judicial Circuit? Does anybody know anybody down there, or actually up there? No cards. All right, here we have our defense attorneys. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start with Mr. Sheffield, and we'll start with Mr. Rubin. Does anyone know Mr. Sheffield or Mr. Rubin? Related by blood or marriage? No cards. Anyone know Miss Laura Hogue or Mr. Frank Hogue? Related by blood or marriage? Know them personally? No cards. And then we have Jessica Burton and Mr. Kevin Goff. Does anyone know either of those people? Mr. Goff? All right, and we have juror number 3. Anyone else know Mr. Goff? Just juror number 3. All right. Now, does anyone here personally know Greg McMichael? He's seated over there next to Laura Hogue. Anyone know Greg McMichael personally? No cards. Does anyone know Travis McMichael, seated right here? Does anyone know him personally? No cards. Does anyone know William, who goes by the nickname Roddy, Bryan, who's sitting down there? Anyone know Mr. Bryan? All right. All right. You've seen the three gentlemen who are in the indictment. Do they look familiar to you? You might not know them personally, but you're looking at them going, yeah, I think I might know him from somewhere, I don't know. Anybody feel they are familiar? Number 25.
Would they be from TV or anywhere?
Yeah.
Actually, no. Forget television.
Okay.
Forget the news for a minute. I'm talking like, you know, they might go to my church. Or I might have seen them in the grocery store. Or I might be in a neighborhood near them and have seen them, you know, something like that. I'm not talking about the news media and that sort of thing. I'm talking about you personally in your personal life might have seen them.
I withdraw.
Okay, so I gotcha. All right, so does anyone know a Miss Amy Elrod? No cards. Does anyone know Mrs. Lee McMichael, Mr. Greg McMichael's wife? Lee McMichael. No cards. Does anyone know Greg McMichael's daughter, Lindsay McMichael? No cards. Now, as you heard, the victim in this case is Mr. Ahmaud Arbery. Did anyone know him personally prior to this incident, February 23rd of 2020? Anyone know Mr. Arbery personally? Does anyone here know his mother, Miss Wanda Cooper Jones?
Yeah, I know her.
You know her personally?
Not personally, no.
All right. Is she someone you believe does anyone here think that they might have recognized her or know her from your personal life?
I mean, I just know her from being around, but not personally.
Gotcha. Thank you, number 9. And same with
With cool sculpting, you do have to have some patience because it's not.
Personally, no.
all right. Is she someone you believe does anyone here think that they might have recognized her or know her from your personal life?
I mean, I just know her from being around, but not personally.
Gotcha. Thank you, number 9. And same with